Arsenal have initiated talks to renew Mikel Arteta's contract. Yes, the 44-year-old's current contract runs until the end of next season, which will be the summer of 2027. Back in 2024, he did sign a 3-year contract that runs until June 2027. But before even the season ends, the Gunners are already highly considering renewing his contract. That's according to Sami Mokbel of the BBC Sport. Welcome back to the Football Tribe UG channel. Robert Kesakos is my name. Thank you so much to all our new subscribers. Yes, now this I think is a very important decision because it will inform Arsenal fans what direction Arsenal will want to take and what the future looks like for the Gunners should they be able to lock down the 44-year-old Spanish gaffer into a new contract. Nonetheless, there is a mutual respect and acknowledgement on both sides that while those conversations have been initiated now, they need to be concluded in the summer post the season because Arsenal are at a significant stage of the season. As we drive towards the tail end of the season, Arsenal have 7 games left to play in the Premier League, leading the Premier League summit with 9 points ahead of their title rivals in Manchester City and are on course to reach the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League for the first time in 2 consecutive seasons. Yes, last season, remember, they reached the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League and were knocked out by PSG, who beat them by 3-1 on aggregate score over both legs to advance to the finals. Now, the Gunners have never played 2 consecutive semi-finals, and prior to last season, they had only played in 2 UEFA Champions League semi-finals back in 2006 when they reached the final and lost to Barcelona by 2-1 at Parc des Princes, and then in the 2007-2008 season when they were knocked out by Manchester United at the semi-finals of the same competition. So looks like Mikel Arteta, regardless of what lenses you view him with, he has taken Arsenal through some strides. He is a man who came in with the mantra of trust the process, and it's been 6 years in charge of the club. They have made significant progress in regards to where he found them and where they are at. In his debut half season, having arrived in December 2019, he guided the Gunners to an FA Cup triumph. That was in 2020, which is the only piece of silverware that up until this day still counts to credit on his name. Nonetheless, this season could be the turning point for the Gunners with the North London side looking on course to win their first Premier League title in 22 years. Now, the big question to ask ourselves is, does the end of the season have an impact on whether these contract talks advance or whether they will stall? Because the 2 scenarios that could likely happen. While Arsenal lead the Premier League table with those 9 points, it's not yet guaranteed that they are champions in waiting. In any case, they could stumble. And should they stumble, I do not think any Arsenal fans will take it to heart and will be eager for a contract renewal of Mikel Arteta. Why? Because over the last 3 seasons, he has guided this Arsenal side to a 2nd place finish, starting with the 2022-2023 Premier League campaign before losing out the Premier League title to Manchester City on a 5-point difference, while the subsequent season they finished 2nd with 2 points behind the eventual champions, Manchester City. Last season, it was 10 points behind the eventual champions, Liverpool. Nonetheless, it was still a 2nd place finish. As we speak, they are at the summit of the Premier League standings. Arsenal fans do hold a certain fever within their guts, knowing that they have conceded the title before, despite being in a comfortable lead, that they have capitulated. A lot of noises have made the rounds that they could bottle it. Those noises became louder in the aftermath of the Gunners losing the Carabao Cup final to Manchester City by 2-0 before being knocked out of the FA Cup at the hands of Southampton. Yes. So, that's the big elephant in the room that needs to be addressed. Their exploits in the UEFA Champions League are nothing but guaranteed because they do take a 1-0 lead into the reverse fixture of the quarterfinals against Sporting Lisbon. Should they be able to advance to the semi-finals of the competition, they could face either Barcelona or Atletico de Madrid, with Atletico de Madrid having a 2-0 advantage after their 2-0 victory at Camp Nou on Wednesday night. So, like I said, it's a very significant period in Arsenal's time. Now, there's not been any indication that should Arsenal walk out of this season trophyless, it will change the stance of Stan Kroenke and Richard Garrick over the future of Mikel Arteta. No such indications or signals have been given. However, it is a question that we ought to weigh in one way or the other, because missing out on another Premier League title would be quite the dagger in Arsenal's hearts. Whereas the two bosses could be willing to entertain Mikel Arteta for further years, I do not think he himself may bring himself around to competing once again, because losing can be that very painful. It becomes difficult to summon the courage to go again, to compete again, especially when you lose the title for the third time. If you lose the title for the third time to your master in Pep Guardiola, because that is the only likely scenario. While Manchester United come in at third, I do not think they are the ones to press Arsenal's buttons to tickle them out of a Premier League title race. So, and yet it does also promise to be a very, very crucial summer where Arsenal are looking to recoup some money. Last summer, I think they made as many as 7 senior team recruits with Kepa Arrizabalaga coming in, Ebeleche Eze, Victor Gyökeres, Noni Madueke, Christian Norgard, and Christian Mosquera joining the club. During that period, they spent anywhere in the north of 250 million pounds. So this summer, they will be looking to recoup some of that. And according to BBC Sport, they are looking to let go of players or to listen to offers for Miles Lewis-Kelly and Ethan Nwaneri, who is out on loan at Olympique Marseille. The Gunners are also willing to listen to offers for Ben White, that's the English centre-back slash right-back, as well as striker Gabriel Jesus, with clubs like Juventus, AC Milan, as well as his parent club in Paramides, believed to have interest in the Brazilian international. Then, I do have a sneaky feeling that despite being at the club for only one season, Christian Norgard could be among those that walk out of North London. But that's a story for another day. In addition, away from the departures, because those departures are believed what will fund any incomings that the Gunners may look to recruit. It is no secret that they have interest in Newcastle's Tino Livramento as their preferred choice of a right back, but injuries that have cost him largely this season may bring doubts on whether Arsenal firm up their interest. Then they also hold interest in Sandro Tonali, the 25-year-old Italian central midfielder at Newcastle. And we know for a fact that Newcastle are going to need to sell at least one or two of their prized assets should they miss out on European football. Therefore, it means players like Anthony Gordon, whom Arsenal appreciate and explored signing back in the summer of 2024, could be on cards, in addition to the likes of Bruno Guimaraes as well as Lewis Hall. But we will have to wait and see. So those are some of the expected departures and changes for Andrea Bata. Going into the summer, he will be looking to work on more outings than incomings for them to also guarantee their continued squad rebuild. Then the Arsenal must be prepared to react for opportunities in the market. We know that the Gunners hold a firm interest in Julian Alvarez, but according to multiple reports, it is suggested that the Gunners may need to part ways with at least Kai Havertz or Victor Gyökeres if they are to accommodate the signing of Julian Alvarez. I do not see Victor Gyökeres leaving after one season, but after 3 seasons in North London, maybe Kai Havertz is the one that is pushed out of the door. We'll only have to wait. He's a player that Mikel Arteta does love really, really so much. So, will there be changes? We'll have to wait and see. But when it comes to Mikel Arteta's contract, both parties do agree that that is a conversation that they will have to conclude in the summer, in the postseason, depending on how things go. Yes, those contract talks have been initiated and they do look positive from both sides. Nonetheless, they do appreciate the timing of the season to be kind enough to be patient with each other, to wait until the end of the season to decide before they conclude on those talks. Your views and thoughts down in the comment section regarding to Arsenal's news that they are in the process to renew Mikel Arteta's contract. Do you think he deserves more time with the Gunners, or it is time to call it an end to the era of Mikel Arteta? By the end of the season, it will have been 6.5 years at the helm of the Gunners. Thank you. Leave me a comment and do not forget to comment, like, and share on this video so that it can be further recommended to people with similar interests so that you can also help put your building block on this channel. For the fans, by the fans. That's Football Tribe UG for you. Stay blessed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye for now.